Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's see, I think we're live here. Good morning to everyone. So we're going to be painting this fall leaf today. I'm going to be using my Daniel Smith watercolors. I will have everything that I'm using down in the description box below. Can you guys hear me okay? And good morning, Crafting with EB, and good morning, Lisa. Nice to see you guys here, as always. I'm just waiting to see if you guys can hear me because I was trying to hear the audio. And I don't hear it. Okay, perfect, because I was trying to listen to it on my laptop and it wasn't coming through. So thank you, Lisa. Good, so we can just go ahead and get started. So these are the colors that I have in the Daniel Smith range. And I started with this little set here, and this is Daniel Smith Jean Haines Master Artist Set. And you get 10 colors in here. And I really like these two colors, so the Aussie Gold and the Green Apatite Genuine. This one's really neat because if you're doing wet on wet with it, it sort of bleeds out a little bit and you get a little bit of brown in there as well. So I thought this would be a perfect color for the background. So I'll probably using this Green Apatite, this Aussie Red Gold, and maybe a little bit of sepia or lamp black just to kind of darken it up as we need to. And then we'll pick our colors for the leaf afterwards. And I did use some masking film here just to mask out the edges of the leaf to make it a little bit easier. And I will be using mostly my silver black velvet brushes. And then I pulled out one Princeton Neptune brush just to show you a different technique after for the leaf. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just get some of our colors ready first. So I'm going to probably use this pipette here and just put some paint down on the paper, on the palette, I guess. And we'll mix up some colors first and then we'll go in and start with the background. So as always, if you guys have any questions while we're painting, please feel free to let me know. I always try to answer questions as best I can. And if anybody is trying to paint along, sometimes I do move a little fast, so I always suggest maybe watching through first one time and then you can go ahead and paint it because you kind of know what's coming up. I'm just going to get a little bit more water on these because we do have a bit of background going on. So I'm starting with that Aussie Red Gold. Now if you don't have this color, you could use like a quinacridone gold and add a little bit of orange into it because it's sort of like a burnt orange, maybe a hint of sepia. But you could also just use the quinacridone gold and add some orange into that. And then I'm going to grab that genuine Green Apatite. I think it's this one. And this is a really nice dark, like muted green, but it does have a hint of that brown in it that will be really nice for the background. Okay. Oh, and I've already splashed onto the work. That's all right. Comes off just like that. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of, I think a little bit of sepia too. Just if I want to add any brown to that, and we can always darken that up more because I just want to have sort of like an earthy toned background there where we've got some of our like orange, a burnt orange, a green, and a little bit of brown. And we'll see how that turns out. So I'm going to rinse this brush off really well. And I do have 2 jars of water up here. I have one for dirty water and one for clean water. Hopefully we'll keep it that way as we're painting. And I'm just going to take this big size 12 round brush and just start putting water all over our background. And this will take a couple of minutes to get it really soaked in. So one of the main things when we're doing wet on wet, we want to give the water time to really soak into the paper, and that gives us more time to play around with our paints on the paper. Now we don't want there to be puddles on the surface of the paper, but we do want enough water on there so that it doesn't dry right away on us. And that's why I like masking around the edges of whatever my subject is, because then I don't have to take too much time going around the edges perfectly. But if you didn't use masking fluid and you're trying to follow along this morning, then you'll just have to be a little bit more careful going around your edges. Or you could always add the masking fluid on and then paint along after. Oh, there was something on this block. Look at that. I wonder if that's from a previous painting that got on the edge there. So I'm going to try to wipe the edge really well. And I could have just picked that up. That's interesting. I've not had that happen before. That's okay. We'll just make sure that's dark along there. See, you never know what you're going to get while you're painting live. So I'm just going to go back over one more time, just make sure all the areas of the paper are nice and wet evenly. Okay. And when I feel like it's pretty wet evenly, I'm just going to lift the paper and it's going to show me if everything's shiny. If there's any areas that aren't shiny, I didn't get it with water. And it's going to show me if the water's pooling anywhere or anything like that and I need to pick up some extra water. Now I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of water in here. I don't want a whole lot, but this may dry by the time we get to it, so we can always add some water in there, because it's just a very small area. Okay. Oh, good morning, Corey. Nice to see you here. She says, good morning, Naomi. Ooh, Daniel Smith. I really want to buy some of these, so this could be dangerous. Yes. I was just showing at the beginning that I started with this little set. You get 10 paints, and I really like the colors in them. So that's there. And some of them have some really fun colors, like this green Apatite Genuine that we're going to be using today. So I'm going to start with this Aussie Red Gold, and I'm going to start getting this up in the corner here. And this is the fun thing with these type of backgrounds. You can use whatever colors you want. You can put them in whatever place. You don't have to follow me at all. We're just going to have fun and put some color down. So I want this to be colorful, fallish, and just fun. Maybe I'll put some of this color over here. Ooh, that set looks lovely. Yes, yes it is. That definitely won me over on the Daniel Smith paint for sure. Okay, I'm going to get some of this color. And I'm still using my size 12 Silver Black Velvet round, just because it's a nice big area in the background and it's a nice big brush and it'll cover the areas nicely. Okay, so I'm going to rinse out of that. I'm going to dab off any extra water on the brush, and now I'm going to go in with this. And you can see how it's got some of that green in there and some of the brown too. And this is a granulating color, so I'm hoping that we will get some of that brown and green, like, to kind of disperse a little bit. We'll see, because normally when I'm doing wet on wet technique like this, I like to leave the painting to dry naturally. So like it'll dry over time, and that helps the colors kind of spread out more. but where I'm going to have to go ahead and dry it today, we might not get as much dispersion in the colors, but we'll see. We'll see what we get. And I'm going to have to mix up some more of this color. Just grab a little bit more. And I might even put a little bit of that there, and let's do a little bit of the orange and kind of let those two mix in there and see what we kind of get. Now I'm going to have to be careful and pick up a little bit of that one. And we'll let those colors mix, and then I'm going to get some down here too. And I'm just kind of like tapping these colors into each other. I want them to mix a little bit. I'm going to grab some more of that orange, that brownish, reddish orange, whatever you want to call it there, that Aussie red gold. And I don't use this color a lot normally, but I thought it was just perfect in this picture. So I'm just grabbing more of this, and now you can see as I'm going in with a second layer, it's sort of like darkening the color up. It's a little more vibrant. And then once I get these areas covered again, we might throw some more colors in there. We'll see how we feel. So how is everybody doing this morning? How's Sunday going for you, and how's the weekend? Okay, so I'm just going to rinse that brush off well, and I'm going to go back in with that green Apatite Genuine. And I just want to darken up a little bit some of these areas here. And I might even coax it up into that color a little bit. Oops. Went over my masking fluid, but that's all right. Sometimes you get a little excited when painting. Mix and play and just create some different colors. A little bit more of that green, just darken this up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of that sepia and just get a little bit of brown in here as well. And I might even, because this is starting to get just slightly drier, let's go and pick up some of that there. It's just starting to get slightly drier. So I'm going to have to mix up a mix that has a little bit less water in it now. So we'll just start mixing some on the side. So as you can see, it's not quite as liquidy as that. Oh, hello Art City. Very nice to see you here. Very excited for the end result. Me too. Sometimes you're kind of like, I don't know. But I thought this picture was just so pretty. Too pretty to kind of pass up. So now I'm just putting this brown in just a couple of places where it's a little darker. And I'm just going to let the colors mix. And now my brush is fairly dry here, and so that lets me be able to go around the edges and just like slightly blend these colors together. So I don't have any more water on my brush than what's already on there. I just want to soften them slightly. Okay. So I think I'm going to grab, I want a little bit more of like a reddish tone in there. So I'm going to grab just a little bit, I think, of this Pyrrole Orange and maybe mix it in with this Aussie Red Gold just to give it a little more of like a brighter hint. And then I might take some of this green Apatite Genuine just to tone it down slightly. And then I'm just going to put this in a couple areas too. Just to maybe hint at some warmness going on. And see, you can really have fun with these backgrounds. Just really play with your colors and just throw colors in there that you wouldn't normally think of throwing together. Okay, and I'm just gonna do another little pass of the green Apatite Genuine, just in a couple of places where I want that a little bit darker. And then we'll go ahead and probably dry this layer, and we'll see how it looks. We can either do a second layer or we can leave it and start working on our leaf. EB says, I got that Ranger coming this week, so excited. Oh, the Ranger hair dryer that Corey recommended. Yes, it is amazing, and I will be showing it off in a minute. Corey says, same, I struggle because I feel the paper dries faster than I apply. Yeah, so sometimes you really just need to let it dry and then wet it all again and start over. But if you really take your time to wet it well at the beginning, like you saw that I was able to get a couple of layers in here, really get some of those colors nice and bright. I just want to kind of break up this area a little bit up here. Yeah, so we were able to get a few layers on here. And I hope you guys can see, I'm just rinsing my brush out really well, where some of those colors are starting to granulate a little bit and you're getting those different textures in there. And I'm just gonna help them flow together. And yeah, I've obviously got paint on the side of my block from before too, I think. So I'm just gonna go along the edges. Oops. Let's not get rid of the paint we put down. Let's throw some more color there. I guess it's a little orangey. Okay. I'm just going to carefully go along the edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and dry this. And am I still in frame? So if you guys have any questions for me while I'm drawing, go ahead and let me know. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to, just if there's anything in the leaf that I want to pick up. Oh, actually, I think I want to make these a little bit darker too. So I'm just going to grab that green Apatite Genuine. Just make this part just a little bit darker so it matches the background more. And then I'm going to do the same with this red Aussie Gold. Get that in there. And then I'm going to get all the water off my brush and just let them mix together. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and dry. See, there's always little things to fix. Now, another tip that I have for you guys while I'm drawing this is sometimes, so even with a block like this, you can see it's still buckling a little bit. My gosh, words are hard this morning. So sometimes you'll dry and you think it's dry, but it's still buckled. If it's still cool to touch when you touch it after drying, it's not completely dry, because if it's completely dry, it will go flat. Same if you've got your borders taped down, and if you're not using a block, I would definitely suggest for you to tape your borders down. And if you dry it enough, like really take your time to dry it for a couple of minutes, it will go completely flat. I've also got a video showing how to flatten watercolor paper if you haven't done that, so you can always look that up too, and it's just a really quick, easy way of how to flatten them and get them nice and straight again. So you can see too, when the colors are wetter, they're a lot more vibrant, and as they dry, they kind of tone down a bit, they mute down a little bit. And that's why I love the Daniel Smith watercolors for like earthy types of things, like backgrounds, landscapes, florals, things like that. They're really nice for. And I never used to like the granulation that I would get from the Daniel Smith paints, but now I'm starting to appreciate them more and more. So I'm probably just going to take another minute drying this off really well so we can get rid of some of that buckling. And while I'm doing this, I'll also mention, I think for the next one, I had suggestions to do like a cupcake or some type of dessert. So I think we might take a break from fall themed stuff, and we'll do a cupcake in colored pencils, because I was going to do this leaf with colored pencils, but then I thought we would just do a whole piece in colored pencils. So we'll do some type of cupcake or some kind of dessert themed thing. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. And then after that, I'm designing a sort of pumpkin nighttime scene in the back, in like a wooded area. So I figured that would be fun to kind of finish off the month with. And we'll probably do pastels with that, because I'm itching to use my pastels again. Okay, so that is nice and dry now. So if you guys are up for that, let me know as well. And Art City says, that sounds awesome. I love cupcakes. I know, right? I love painting and drawing cupcakes, mostly drawing, because I like to get a lot of detail into those if I want it to look quite realistic. So I do tend to gravitate towards either watercolor pencils and colored pencils for that. So I've just got this like rubber block here that I got with one of my masking films. And I do have a couple of videos of showing how to apply masking film and how to remove it very easy as well. So you could even just use a face cloth to remove this. but I'm going to go ahead and just get it removed, and then we'll start painting our leaf. And you can see how this is still pretty gentle on the surface, and it doesn't really rip your paper. So I like that. So again, if you guys have any suggestions or any questions while I'm doing this, it's always nice to hear from you guys. And are you guys working on any projects right now, or do you have any projects that you're working on or coming up? And if you guys weren't happy with the way your background came out, you know, feel free to watch the rest of this video if you are painting along. But feel free to watch the rest and then go ahead and do another layer in the background. That's no big deal. Colorfully Optimistic, or Corey, says, I'm between projects, in a slump, and can't decide what to do. Yeah, I feel like I was in that for the last couple of weeks, and then I feel like I'm just starting to kind of get back out of it a little bit. So hopefully you will get out of that as well, Corey. And I know you've had some things going on in your life, so, you know, I am thinking of you. And I hope everything works out. Okay. And I'm going to get this little piece. And one of the reasons I picked this reference photo was because of this little heart-shaped piece out in the leaf. I just fell in love with that right away. I thought that was so cute and so different. So that's why I kind of chose this one. And for some of the colors too. I really liked the color scheme in the background. And I hope it's showing up as vibrant for you guys. I think it looks a little muted for you guys in the camera, but when I'm done, I'll put the picture up. I usually try to change the picture to the thumbnail. So, and then I usually just go over top with my finger afterwards just to make sure I've gotten all the bits off, because you'll feel any little pieces left on the surface. Perfect. Okay. Art City says, I have been working on a food illustration painting. It's my favorite thing. Ooh, nice. Very nice. So yeah, no wonder you'll like the cupcake. What medium are you using for that? Thanks. I hope you will start getting inspired. Yeah, I hope she does too. All right, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to go down to a smaller brush now. This is my size 8 Silver Black Velvet. And I'm going to do the same thing and wet the surface of this, and then we'll put our colors in. But I'm going to mix up somewhat similar colors for this, I think, that I used in the background. So I'm going to get some more of this Aussie red gold going. I'm going to get I'm going to get some more of that green Apatite Genuine. But I don't want it to be as dark as the background, because I want the background to be set back a little bit. So I might mix just a hint of yellow in there, just to sort of get it to more of like a sap green type color. And we'll see how that looks when we put it down, and we can always change our mind. So there is no green in the reference leaf, but because I did use it in the background, I am just going to put a little bit of it in there. And then I think I'm going to mix up like an orange. So we'll use some of this Pyrrole orange. And then I'm going to mix in some New Gamboge, just to make it a little more like traditional orange, I guess. And I think I need to put some more of this orange in my palette. Okay, so that's a little more orangey there. And I'm going to get like a yellow. So I'm going to take some of this Hansa Yellow Light. And I'm going to mix just a little bit of the New Gamboge in there, just to make it sort of like an in-between yellow. Not too warm, not too cool. And then we've got some of our brown left. Might even make a bit of a red. So I'm going to take this Pyrrole Scarlet. EB says, I'm working on Inktober. We'll be doing that on stream today. Oh, fun. That's fun. What prompts are you working on today? And Corey says, I need to catch up on my prompts. Already fell behind. Yeah, I started doing Bloomtober, if you guys have seen those videos. So it's like Inktober, but they're botanical paintings instead. And I've been using my Inktense blocks for that. So I'm going to challenge myself to kind of do that this month. And I might not have a new one every day, just because I do work full time. So I might not have time to do a full painting each day, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just wet this flower, and we've got some colors down in that, or this flower, this leaf, and then we'll just see what we're feeling. What are your favorite colors for a leaf? Let me know. Because maybe I'll add it in, you never know. I always change my mind once I get started. EB says, suit, vessel, then as much as I can. Yeah. I've never been much like for following challenges like that, but the Bloomtober one really caught my eye. So I'm really taking my time, you know, getting around all the pieces in this fall leaf. And then we'll have to go, you know, and probably do another layer just to make sure that it stays nice and wet for us, so that we can really have some time to play around with our colors. So I apologize, this is sort of the boring part of doing this, but it's definitely worth it if you really take your time. Reds and orange, I think I take the prompts too literally. Yeah, that's it too. And I find too, sometimes once I've seen somebody else do the prompts, like I can't get their idea out of my head when I'm trying to do my own thing, and that's all I can think of. And you know, it's nice to take some inspiration from other people, but sometimes I don't want to be doing the exact same thing as everyone else. I like to just do my own thing. Bloomtober sounds cool. Where do you find the prompts? So if you check out my videos, I have day 1 and day 2 up already, and I'll be editing day 3 later to go up today. I do have a link to the Instagram post of the person that created the prompts, so you can check that out there. The link will be in the description of those videos. Okay. So again, I'm going to lift, make sure I got all the areas and there's not too much water. Now I did omit the stem right now because we can worry about that later. So I'm going to start with this green and start laying this in and just see what it looks like. So I'm feeling maybe some green towards the bottom a little bit. We'll see. Maybe a little bit in here somewhere, maybe a little over here. So really at this point, like the reference photo is sort of like inspiration for me. I'm kind of like taking some inspiration from it, but I don't have to follow it completely. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that darker green there and just add that in too. And just sort of let it soften out. Okay. I'm going to take some of this yellow and I'm going to get this in some of these areas too, around the green. And if you go over top of your background while you're doing this, this is fine. That's fine. You can always fix it afterwards or just leave it, because it's sort of light enough at this stage that you won't notice it too much. The colors are very similar, so if they do overlap, it's not a big deal. Okay, and then maybe I'll put some of this in just some random little places, and then we'll be putting other colors over top of this. Okay, so I'm going to go in with that Aussie red gold now. So I'm just going to tap that off because I did go over the side there quite a bit. And I'm just going to get this in some places. And then once I get most of the color down, I can, you know, take my time, get up to the edges and stuff. So then I'm going to take this brighter orange and start putting this into a few places. Just to have like a pop of color in here and a little bit. Oh, going over the edges a lot today. This one. So I'm just playing, pushing the color around, and then I'll kind of like see little areas as I'm going that I'll want to add different color to. Okay, and I'm going to grab this red mixture that we put down. And just get this in a few places. Do you have any ideas for future paintings? I'm curious. Like for tutorial paintings, do you mean? Or like just paintings in general? Like, and do you mean like any medium or just watercolor in general? Okay. So I'm going to mix up some more of that yellow color, just a hint of that in there, and I'm going to start brightening it up now. So this is the point where I want to start making the colors a little bit darker. I've kind of got things down, but I want to, you know, change them a little bit. And this layer has to be a little bit drier than the last layer when we're putting them down, these colors down. Now I'm going to kind of mix these two colors together. Art City says paintings in general, any medium. Okay, so I did mention or actually you were here when I mentioned the cupcake, right? So I thought maybe a nice cupcake tutorial coming up. Then I'm trying to design that pumpkin one where it's going to be like a night scene in the woods, and we'll do a pumpkin. And then after that, I'm not really sure. That's about as far as I've gotten so far with anything planned. So I am very open to suggestions from people. Because then I guess we're getting into sort of the winter season. So I don't know if you guys want any like winter specific tutorials. So I'm just kind of dragging this color in a couple of places just to break up some of the other colors. Okay, going back in with that Aussie red gold, and again a little bit more concentrated this time. That sounds nice. Can't wait. Sorry, didn't mean to put the oh, the question mark. That's all right. So I'm just kind of going and darkening up some of these areas, mixing some of these colors together. And I'm almost out of this color too. So I'll have to add, I have a tube of it. I just have to add it to my palette, which I haven't done. Okay, and I'm just going to help this green mix in with the yellow down here, because I don't want it to be too like a harsh line. I'll even get some of that yellow and work it up into the green. And I don't know if I like 100% that yellow, so we may change that. But I'm going to get a little bit more of this orangey mixture going, and I'm just throwing some of the colors that we've used together. Maybe I'll even put that down here a little bit. And I'm going to go back in with that red. So this is the Pyrrole Scarlet Red. And then I might even add just a smidge of quinacridone rose in there, just to cool it down just a smidgen. And this is starting to dry, so we're going to have to be careful at this stage. I'm going to take this color and I'm going to go over this yellow color. I find the yellow color just stands out too much. So I'm going to take that Aussie gold red and just put that over the yellow. And that blends in just a little bit better. And then I'm just blending the edges of the red. And just one last time, I'm going to go in with this Aussie gold red. Okay. And I'm going to add just a hint of that green back in some of these places. And just to blend the edges, so I'm tapping my brush off, getting any excess water. And then I'm just going to blend. Okay, so I'm going to move my glasses of water. I'm going to flip this and move my brushes. And I'm hoping this is still wet enough to be able to do this technique that I'm going to show you guys of how to get the veins. But we'll see. If not, we'll let it dry and then we'll just go over top and paint the veins in. But one reason I like these Princeton Neptune brushes is they come to a point at the end. So you can kind of scrape into your watercolor paper this way. And actually, maybe I'll do it this way so you guys can still see. Am I still in frame? I want to make sure I stay in frame for this. And all I'm going to do is just go along and try to draw in those veins that I see here. And then we'll go in and do this, the stem afterwards, and we'll see if this is gonna create what I want. So you can see it's just creating a nice dark line. And what it does is it pushes the paint like out of that, but it keeps the general colors underneath. So you can create some different textures in the paper. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and create these veins this way. And if the paper starts drying too much, then we'll have to go in and paint some in. But I'm going to try to be a little quick doing this so that we can keep doing it. And then I'm going to do some of the little veins that come off as well. But that's one reason I really like these brushes too, because they have that little fine point on there for you to be able to do this. So I apologize if I'm not really reading chat right now. I just want to get these in real quick. And I'm just roughly like following from the picture. So you can see there it's getting a little dry because it sort of created this white area. So you want to be careful not to push too much when you're doing this. But it just creates some really cool texture in there. There. So I hope that's coming up on camera for you guys. And I'm just going in and just trying to darken up the main ones. So I'm just lightly scraping over top. And that's just giving it that look. And I find this is a natural way to do the veins in the leaf, because if you look at leaves, the veins sort of, they're not all one color. They kind of change with the colors that are in the leaves. So that kind of makes it a little more realistic. But again, you've got to be at that perfect where it's almost dry. If it's too wet, the water is just going to cover up the veins. If it's too dry, it's just going to scratch the paint off like it kind of did here. You can kind of go over and try to fix that a little bit, but there's a very small percentage of time when you can do this. And so your paper starts to buckle a little bit because it's drying. You shouldn't add any more paint because you're going to just cause blooms, and it's going to ruin what you've got there now. So you know that's the perfect time to kind of go for it. Why should we layer colors while painting? How is it helpful? Do you mean letting it dry and then going over top with a separate layer, or do you mean how we've done it this way, kind of letting all the colors blend together? So if you could be a little more specific with that, Art City, that I would be able to answer it a little better for you. Okay, so now we've got to do this stem. So I'm going to go and grab my size 4 brush. It's a little bit smaller, and we'll make up some color for our stem. So I'm probably going to take some of this Aussie Red Gold. I keep forgetting the name of this one. Some Aussie Red Gold. And then I'll add just a touch maybe of some sepia in that, just to darken it up. Just sort of a light stem color, and we'll see how that looks. Actually, I think I need to go darker with that. So I'll grab a little bit more of that, a little bit more of this. Maybe I'll get some sepia directly from the pan. And because this is just a small area that we're painting here, I don't need to worry about it being wet, because it's just a little stem. I'm not going to throw in too much color into that. And then here we want the stem to connect with the little veins. And then I'm going to get all the water out of the brush there, and then just lightly tap the ends of it to help it blend in to those areas so that it blends out very seamlessly. Just coaxing that paint out. I'm going to put just a little bit more sepia just right in the middle there, come right up to the start of those veins. I might take a little bit more of this Aussie Gold Red, Aussie Red Gold. I cannot say that one right. And just drop it into here a little bit. Just for some difference. Letting it dry and then putting more color on top. Okay, so the reason for that, and the only time I do that is if I didn't achieve what my goal was in the first layer. So let's say I couldn't get the colors as dark or as concentrated for this layer in the leaf, and I knew I wanted to go more, or maybe I wanted to change a color, then I would let it dry completely, go over top, wet it all again, and then start again. So as long as you don't aggressively wet it and scrub it, the colors will stay put, and you can do another layer or another glaze on top. So that's only if you want to intensify the colors, but if you're happy with what you laid down that first go around, you don't need to do that again. So that's all. So I think I like how this turned out. How's it looking for you guys? Some people's videos stopped. Yes, it's buffering. So I'm not sure how to fix that. How do I fix that? Is it working now? Okay, now it says the stream is healthy. Can you guys see me now? Is it back? Is it a problem with the connection? Well, my stream just said it had poor and then it jumped to excellent again. So I don't know if maybe some people were grabbing some of the internet, you know, and using it up. But yeah, I'm not sure. But you guys can see it okay now? YouTube is on strike, Corey says. Yeah, it's back. Okay, perfect. All I did was just dry a little bit. So I figured I would just turn it around for you guys to see the leaf a little bit better, maybe. Like that. So that's kind of what we're going with. Now we've still got a little more stream time, so would you guys be interested if I worked on any of those Inktober postcards? Or do you guys just want me to end the stream here since this tutorial is technically done? I will leave it up to you guys, because I could stay for a little bit longer. Yes, work on the Inktober cards, because I've got these ones here. So I did a video with these, and the only thing I colored was the cover postcard. I never actually did any of these ones, and I did have somebody request to do the gems here, so I figured maybe that would be fun to do. Yes, do Inktober. So if anybody was here just for the painting leaf tutorial, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to set it off to the side to dry really well. And then maybe we'll jump in and do, you know, a postcard or something like that. Or maybe a couple. All right, so what I'm first going to do is I'm just going to run and clean my water off real quick, get some clean water, and I will be right back. And then you guys put some suggestions in the chat for colors that you want to see. So these are the colors for here. So what colors should I use for that? Oh, the Inktober postcards sound nice. Perfect. I will just be right back. I apologize. I wasn't planning to do any more in the stream today. Okay. So, do I have any water? I do have water in this. Perfect. So, does anybody have any requests for colors? Let me see. Can you see these are right here? I could maybe zoom in a little bit more. Let's see if I can do that. How's that? Is it a little better? Let me know if you guys want me to zoom in even more. EB says pink, purple, green. Okay. That's interesting. I'm just going to look up a reference photo here real quick. And I'll kind of grab the first one that I see. I kind of like that. Okay, so I think I'll go with like the purpley color ones. So I apologize I can't put this reference on screen now for you guys, but that's what we'll kind of go with, okay? So I don't know if we have a really good purpley color. Let me grab this palette here. So I do have a porcelain palette, which is good for ink stuff. And I'm gonna see how these colors look here, this peacock blue and this ink blue. So that's, oh, that's very blue, okay. And this one is more of a purpley color, okay, okay. Because there's not too many choices for like purple or pinks, but we do have this pastel pink up here, so let's see what this is. Well, that's pretty pink, so I wonder if I can mix these two together and get sort of, yeah, okay, I like that color. So I think we'll use this sort of for the base of our crystals. That's perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Art City. I usually have the chat in front of me, but now I'm using my tablet for the reference photo, so I've got to look off at my laptop for the chat. So if I seem a little awkward, that's why. All right, so I'm gonna start getting just a base down, a very light wash over all of these of this like pinky purple color. And these postcards are very smooth too, but I'm surprised, you know, how well they do take a little bit of water. Okay. So maybe we'll go in and, do we have any reds? We don't really have any reds. What about this? Oh, we have a crimson, I guess. So what's this? That's a nice red. So maybe we'll do these mushrooms in red here. So if you guys have suggestions for colors for any of these areas here, let me know. Does your palette still smell like pumpkin? Yes, it does. And I kept the little paper thing off to the side too, because I just love the smell of it. But every time I take it out of the box, I get that whiff of pumpkin smell. It's amazing. So please let me know if I get out of frame, because usually I'm looking on my tablet with the comments just to make sure that everything's still in frame. These postcards are kind of just fun to sort of like mindlessly, you know, color and stuff. And I just realized I missed these crystals down here. So we'll paint these ones in. As I'm letting the other ones dry. And I'm just rinsing the brush off in the glass of water just to make it quicker. But I mean, it is a paintbrush, so you can always just squirt a little bit of water and rinse it off there. Okay, so let's get some earth color in here. And I guess let's maybe do this tree bark brown color. Maybe it would be easier if I put this on this side so I could hold it down. So let's see. Yeah, that's a nice earthy color, I think. And I may be going out of the edges, but I'm trying to do this a little quick so we're not here forever. Crafting with EB says, yes, yesterday we celebrated my nephew's 5th birthday. It was Mickey Mouse themed. Oh, super cute. I'm sure he just really enjoyed that. Oh, that's really cute. It's kind of neat how it's drying and then I start in some areas, it's getting sort of like some texture to it. I kind of like that. And a little bit of color difference because there's a little bit of like of a red undertone in some of these places. That's kind of neat. I'm just going to get this a little more in some of these shadow areas. Probably not going to do a whole lot of shading on some of this because I don't want it to be super, super detailed, but just a little. Just enough. Yeah, he was super cute and happy. Next week is my mom's 60th birthday party. Oh, wow. That's exciting too. Oh, good morning, SoCal colorist Della. Good morning, Della. Nice to see you here. We finished we finished the painting already. So then I was trying to think of other things to keep us busy for a little bit since I can stream for a little bit longer. So I decided to pull out some of these Inktober postcards. Well, we're working on one right now. We'll probably just do one. We'll see. We'll see how quick we can get this one done, but okay. Yes, that would be great if you guys could give a like and Share the video if you want, and of course subscribe. Subscribing helps too. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of a darker mixture of that color going. So I'm just mixing that purple and that pink. And so for this to make it look transparent and shiny, we want some high contrast. So we're going to have to make this quite a bit darker in some areas to give it that look. So I'm leaving some of the areas still with that first layer of color. I don't want to cover up everything. Will you show the lake picture before you go today? The watercolor pencil landscape that we finished? Yeah, I can certainly show you that if you remind me before we go, yes. Yeah, I can definitely do that, Della. Okay, I'm going to work on the tree, I think, a little bit, and I'm going to use some of this, like, this was sort of like an orangey brown color, and I'm going to add in some of this brown color with that to get sort of like a tree brown color, if that makes sense. Yes, please, thank you. Yes, Della, just remind me. Am I still on frame? I'm slowly pulling this down towards me. Yeah, just remind me for sure, and I will do that. And I can show you the leaf that we finished today too if you want. After. So anybody that's just coming in, we did finish the fall leaf painting today. We did the leaf and the background. And so you guys can always go back and watch that replay if you're interested. But we're just having some fun now playing with these Inktober postcards and the Viviva ink cards that it came with. So if you can continue that nice wet line at the bottom, I find these blend out really nicely and really smoothly. You just got to be quick with it because these do dry fairly quickly, I'm noticing. When I get down to the roots, I might add just a little bit more of that brown color in there. Thank you. The leaf in the corner picture. Yes, that's the one we did. Yeah. Just blending this color up around here. Okay. And then I might add some of this darker color over here as well around these mushrooms, just to create like a suggestion of some shadowing. All right, so I think these are dry. We can go on with another layer. So I'm going to find that purple color again. Get a little bit more of this. And I'm just going to add some of that pink in there too. Now what are you painting with again? Okay, so these are the Viviva color sheets. It's like ink, but on a color sheet. And these are the Inktober postcards. Yes, EB's got them there. The Viviva color sheets. So I'm just trying to create a nice gradient here. So now I'm being just slightly more strategic of where I'm putting the colors at. And I just wipe off anytime I want to just blend the edges. Yeah, it's the second year that the Viva Colors joined Inktober, but this is the first year that you could get these postcards. And I did a video showing the postcards, and it's really cool because each one has a different artist that participated, that drew, well, not each one. So I think there was 6 or 7 different artists that participated and drew them. So I thought that was really, really cool that you could, you know, show support for these artists by getting these. Yes, EB just linked her channel. Thank you very much. Yeah, Catback. I really like her art. I think last year she did Cattober, if I'm not mistaken. So she did the prompts, but included like little cats in them, I think. Or I don't know if the prompts were different. I don't want to misspeak. But she has participated quite a bit before. I'm just darkening one last time some of these. And I hope they're kind of starting to look like little crystals. So it's all about getting like contrast in there, having some light, some dark, and then I can pull out like my Inktense block afterwards, or even a gel pen, and you can go over and create those brighter, whiter highlights, and that's going to make this like pop and look translucent a little bit more too. All right, so let's go in and fill in, let's fill in our little mushroom stems. Now what colors do we have here? What's this one? Well, that's that orangey one. What's this color? That's crimson. This is a dusk orange. Let's see. What's autumn leaf? That's sort of like a nice brown. What's this one? Sort of an orange. Maybe I'll take that autumn leaf and add a little bit of that brown into it. And that'll be our little mushroom stem color. Maybe orange it up just a little bit. Whoops, went way outside the lines there, but that's all right. I'm also going to put this color underneath a little bit to let it mix in with that red. Okay, and then what colors do we have for green? We've got like this yellowish looking green, maybe. What's that? Happy yellow. Okay. We've got this lighter green, this darker green. What's this one? This is a pastel green. See that? Ooh, that is super a nice bright green. I'm just going to see what these other ones look like real quick. So where are these ones? These two up here. This is a light green. That almost looks the same. This might be, that one might be a little more muted down, and this might be more like less muted, but they look very similar to me. And then this is bottle green. Oh, that's almost like a viridian. Okay, okay. So I think I'm going to use, I'll use this green a little bit. I might get a little bit more of that. And then I'm going to add just a touch of the red into this to just mute it a little bit. Let me check comments here. The postcards were made by 6 different artists in 5 different countries. Yes. Yeah, they were really cool. So we had a red here somewhere. Yeah, crimson. So I'm just going to take a little smidge of this because I feel like a lot of that's going to go a long way. I just want to mute it down just ever so lightly. So it's more of like a hooker's green type thing, and I might just add just a smidge in with this one as well. So that's one thing I like to do if my greens are looking a little like super green or like too vibrant. I just add a hint of red to them because red is the opposite of green on the color wheel. So if we look here, red and green will create sort of like a more browny color, but you can also use that to mute the color down a little bit. So I'll go in with this green first and just fill in. Still a very vibrant green. I think I've got a little too much water on there maybe. And I'm noticing that the postcard is warping slightly, just like ever so slightly, but not bad. But as you guys have seen, I have been using quite a bit of water on it, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Now I've not used a regular brush on these yet. I just used the water brush that it came with, so I can't say whether that would be better or not, but maybe I'll do another one using a regular brush. And then I can kind of show you guys the difference. But I'm just going to get this green in, and then we'll get some of the darker green, and then we'll probably call that it. Unless you guys have any other ideas for things or anything you want to see. EB says, I love how this looks. Thank you so much, EB. I very much appreciate that. So next weekend, oh, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but maybe I'll put a comment down below. So next weekend I am working, so I will have to move Sunday's stream to Monday, just so you guys know. So it'll be not this coming Monday tomorrow, but the next Monday instead, and we'll do like a cupcake or some kind of dessert thing with colored pencils, and that'll probably take us 2 streams, I'm thinking, and then we'll jump into that not watercolor pencil, we'll jump into the pastel pumpkin one that I'm sort of doing. So I still have to create that. I want it to be like a spooky kind of pumpkin scene. I'm thinking of having like the pumpkin and maybe a candle and then like a forest spooky background. If you guys have any suggestions for that, let me know, because I'm just taking a bunch of reference photos and sort of putting them together to create that. I'm just going to go ahead and blast it. Well, do I need to heat it? I don't know. We'll throw the color on there and see how it goes. We'll just see. We'll throw it on because I do want it to blend out a little bit. Just want a little bit of dark color. Just a little hint of shadows here and there. And anytime I want to blend the edges, I just wipe the brush off and I pretty much wiped all that off, so we'll just add a little bit more back in. These brushes are a little harder than the ones I normally use to control the water flow in them. And I started putting my hand down a little closer to the end because I found when I was putting them in the finger grooves up here, I would just naturally just squeeze a little bit when I was doing something, and it would push more water out than I wanted. So that's one thing I do notice with these. They do put out a little bit more water than I would like. Show the artwork for last stream and today's stream. Yes, thank you so much, EB. I will do that. Yeah. Just gonna get some color into these trees here. Nothing specific, just putting it on where I feel like it, where I think there might be shadows and stuff going on maybe. And I kind of want to see like how opaque this is because it says it's a pastel green. So I want to see if it's going to show up over top of some of these if we just tap it in here and there. Showing up a little bit, but not a whole lot, but it's all right. Okay. So I'm going to grab, actually I have my Inktense block right here. So I'm going to grab a little bit of this and just create a couple of highlights on here. And then I will grab those artworks for you guys, and then that will be it for today, I believe. See how small of a highlight. Ooh. That kind of waters it down a little bit too much. I'm just going to grab one of the brushes that I was using, the size 4 brush, I think. Oh, I've got, it's not rinsed out that great, but that's okay. Just going to put a little bit of white on some of these, and we'll see how it shows up. I don't know, oops, I don't think you guys can see that. I'm just using the Inktense block here off to the side. Sorry about that. And I'm just putting just some highlights here and there. Could use a gel pen for this if you wanted. I just don't have a gel pen handy. This just happened to be handy. There. Okay, so that was a quick and easy little postcard there using the Viviva ink sheets. And I will grab, here's the one that we worked on today. So this was the leaf in Watercolors. And I'm just going to make sure that I am in frame here. I did zoom in a little bit, so let me zoom back out. Okay, there, I think that's better. So I'll leave this one here for a second, and I will grab the one from the other day. Okay, so that was the one we did today, and then this was the watercolor pencil one that we did the other day. Or last week. We finished it last week. It took us a few streams, but we finished it, and I like how it came out quite painterly. I had in mind to use some different techniques that I would use when using watercolor or gouache to do the trees in the background, but that didn't really pan out, so we kind of did another method, and it came out quite painterly, and I like it. So let me know what you guys think about that. And I'm sure most of you were there for that stream. Is the stream having trouble again? That turned out so beautifully. Yes, thank you so much, Della. They all look awesome. I love them both. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, EB. Nope. Okay, perfect. I just didn't know if, because YouTube's been, I don't know, it's been weird today. Yeah, so that's how they both turned out. And we used, for this part, we used the back of a brush to kind of indent and create those textures in the leaf. So that was really fun to do. The leaf is super cool. Is it another stock photo? Love the heart. I know, that was the reason I picked this. This was actually from, I think, Pixabay. I have the link to it down in the description below. So if you want the line art for this as well as the reference photo, they're both linked down in the description, so you can follow along if you want. And I do try to find royalty-free reference photos because that way I can link them and everybody can use them without any issues. And if I ever use another photo or something like that, I would let you guys know. So I think that's it for today. For today's stream. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Yes, so next week's stream, I will be moving it to Monday. I should have it up about midweek, and then you guys will know when it's up, but it should be Monday, 10 a.m. Atlantic time. We will be doing a cupcake with colored pencils, because I had a request for that, and then we'll go back and do another fall-themed pastel painting after that. So thank you guys so much for joining today, and I will see you next Monday. Bye, guys.